There is going to be one more band to come out before we do move into the next pick phase. John, though, talk to me about the pick so far. SMG, I think, have a very strong opening in the Bane and, of course, the Beastmaster from Raging Potato. Polaris Esports, though, go for the Weaver's Shadow Demon opening, which have been two very meta picks as of late.
Yeah, they fit right in. There's still some flexibility here for Polaris to run that Weaver as a support, as we've seen time and time and again, but you could still fit it in maybe on the safe lane here for a Natsumi. He has played it a couple of times before, not recently, so you still have a bit of that flex. I like the Leshrac coming out with a Shadow Demon. You've got the easy setup for the stuns. We just saw what happened with the Leshrac Shadow Demon in the last game. Like, Motivate Trust made it work really well. So I think Polaris has a lot of ways to make their own draft work. They've got their own push with the Leshrac counter push as well. SMG though following up with a Shaker. So you get the Awfully special and the Pylite special in the Bane, along with the push you have in the Beastmaster. It is shaping up quite nicely for SMG. This is a draft they're very comfy with. We've seen Awfully Shaker time and time and again turn games on its head once he gets the blinks up. I think the issue now for SMG is just buying space for the Shaker to hit that blink timing, because that's the one thing that can take a while. Afu is going to be eating up a lot of space to get that done. SMG has to be ready to bleed that space out, but they're used to it. So I don't think it's a massive issue for SMG in terms of timing there.
We should mention as well, and I think this is something we didn't really mention quite yet, John, but this might be the closest matchup of tonight as well between Polaris and SMG. I mean, you did kind of preemptively say it, because you did say these two are going to be, you know, getting against each other in Div 1 next EPC Tour, but this is going to be a very close matchup, I'd argue, and I like the fact that we get to see a bit of a sneak peek here in the Pro Series to see how the potential matchups in Div 1 next season does come around. Still, Polaris Esports, they do go into a Medusa pick now, and I suppose it's surprise, surprise, Medusa's back. This hero just always seems to be picked if you do leave it. And had there still been Necrobooks, Jonathan, that wouldn't have been a problem for SMG because they have a Beastmaster, but Necrobook doesn't exist anymore, so you don't have that option anymore, which is very sad.
Yeah, it makes it a bit harder to handle the Medusa, but yeah, bring it back. No, I'm still not in that trend, Mike. No thanks, no thanks. It's like the NFTs, Mike. It only stands for one thing for me, and you're getting that from me right now. I don't want the books back. I can't read, Mike. It's gonna make my job a lot harder. And the Deuce is pretty well protected for Polaris. They've already got the aggression coming out from the Leshrac Shadow Demon Weaver to buy its space. And SMG doesn't have the best ways of melting it, especially without those Necronobicons, as you mentioned. Wondering what SMG do pick up to rectify that. Like we saw Orca try the Ursa with a Morbid Mask into Diffusal. I think up against Shadow Demon, it's just so hard. Shadow Demon Lesh again. I don't think it's going to be an easy time for Mid-1 to be on top if he does go that route. They ban out the PL themselves. So maybe you just don't even focus on a direct Dusa counter. Maybe you just pick something strong, like say TB up against Dusa. Still has those early timings with a Metamorphosis to play with. That could be one route for SMG to go for. They do not have last pick overall, so they can't really adjust too much. And I think they're just going to have to accept that it could be a hard lane coming out, because Polaris still has that last pick coming out here for Force. Mind you, Xavius has been on Force's bum for the past few days. I don't know why. On Facebook, he's just constantly talking shit about Force, actually, like straight up, just dissing him, of course. Yeah, I mean, it's friendly banter, but they're saying stuff like, you know, Force is acting like, oh, he really made some big plays. Force, Xavius would come in and say, nah, you really didn't. It's because the team was easy, stuff like that. Jeez. So he even says that his profile picture right now, which is like a really messed up picture of Elon Musk, is actually Force. I see the similarity. Maybe that'll lead to something fast, but we talked about counters. Yeah. They go with the AM on SMG, and you know, in comparison to say an Ursa Diffusal, at least you have a natural blink on the AM. Single target hold from Polaris is not amazing. You're basically playing with disruption into split Earth. The AM does have some leeway to get out, and outside of Dusa right now, you are mainly magic damage, so that AM should be fairly well protected in the front line up against Alesh and Dusa. 2 ticking time bombs for that ult of the AM on hand. Okay, Polaris going to the Slardar.
Wow.
So there's that direct laning counter coming out from Polaris. Yeah. Maybe baiting that pick in for Mid-1, and I think Force is going to have a good time there now.
I like the Slardar pick, John. I don't know how well it's going to do, but like you said, in terms of laning counters, the Slardar doesn't care about AM. You don't need mana. You just want the bash of the deeps. You just want to keep harassing this AM over and over again. And this could be quite detrimental here for the side of SMG, because you've got Mavis on that Weaver to boot. It does make life hard, like, into the Weaver and the Slaughter. It's a lot of right-click damage that flies out. I'm very curious to see how this safe lane of SMG goes now, going into this game number 1. Mind you, John, you do have some very nice, cheeky combinations here from SMG, especially the Dream Coil into the Echo Slam, but as well as that, you get a big Dream Coil off, John. Mid one blinks in, drains some mana off this Leshrac, and then pops that Mana Void. There's going to be a lot of bodies on the floor here for the side of Polaris Esports, so I think this is going to be a very exciting game number 1 matchup. Some big explosive spells to throw out here from both sides. But John, we've got to ask you the hard question. Who came out with the better draft?
Hard to say. I think it's very even at the end. I think Polaris has got to win that lane up against the AM to kind of simplify that process down the line. But as the game goes on, this AM is going to be a massive issue. Just 2 ticking time bombs for the Mana Void to kick in. And if they do manage to get that off, I think you're in a scary position there for Polaris. So we'll see how well they hold up. I'd say just from draft, I would prefer SMGs. I think they've got the heroes to handle it. Sure, you're up against a Slardar lane for the AM, but you've got a Bane to kind of help you out. So Nightmare's going to be there to make it a little bit more manageable for mid 1. And that's what we've got to see from Pylai. Again, the veteran's back in Seam. Like, we've seen him a ton on this Bane back when he was playing for Fnatic here, of course, while we were casting their games. Good to see him back. We've got to see if that synergy can work, but I think just having him on a stable hero like this already lends a lot towards SMG.
You did have some things to say about Pylai during our podcast, John. In particular, you were, at the rumors, you were very happy that, quote-unquote, Pylai would have a real carry this time around. That was your words, Jonathan, yesterday. So, whoever that real carry is, John, I mean, we're not gonna start spreading rumors here during game 1, but, you know, the man's definitely back. In SCA, that is.
Yep, he is, and... well, right now his real carry is mid 1, and to be fair, mid 1 has been doing a great job. Sometimes he does get a bit aggressive. I don't think we're going to be seeing that from his AM. So you really just want to see mid 1 build that farm up. The rare AM persona shows up as well. We don't see it too often. Nice to see. I know you didn't like this when it came out, Mike. I still kind of think it's just a nice remodel.
Look, I don't mind the look of it. I just think it looks so... in fact, hold that thought, because they are going to break out a little bit into a fight. Going to be a 2-for-2 on the bounty runes. Quick fingers there from mid 1. I have no problem with the aesthetic of the anti-mage persona. Well, I do, because it just looks too... it's so small, isn't it? Like, it doesn't look like a real hero anymore. Like, look at Bane. That's a real Dota hero, right? Like, you look at Bane, you're like, yeah, that's a Dota hero. Then you look at this AM persona, and it just doesn't seem that way. Yeah,
but stock standard AM with no cosmetics kind of looks the same, you know. Maybe a bit larger in stature still.
No, he doesn't.
He's kind of just a dude, you know. It's like Zeus. Zeus without cosmetics is just this puny dude as well, you know.
All right.
So I think it still fits in, as we'll see the lanes break out. Mike Force is up there on the Slaughter up against the AM, getting a very favorable lane matchup early on. You do have the Slitherine Crush level 1, but Force already took a lot of hits out from Pylai. Xavius though setting up nicely, but they already used the stun. Nice trap though. Pylai gonna be able to eat the tree and walk out, so you're gonna be fine. But you're already losing a lot in that Bane.
Oh, Pylai, a bit of a panic fairy fire there, but Force was getting close for the Slitherine Crush. I've looked at the other lanes while we still have a chance as well. Mid lane, Moon, who was doing a spectacular job during those regional finals against Lelouch on that Leshrac, and we didn't have the pleasure of seeing these two against each other during those regional finals, but do you give the advantage to one or the other player, John?
I'd say this is really even as a lane. I mean, Leshrac can kind of clear out the waves a little bit more consistently compared to the Puck, because you have better uptime with your Lightning Storm in comparison to the Illusory Orb, but harassing out a Puck is a bit of a tall order. Landing that split hurt is very mana costly as well. So I think it's going to draw even. You really will just look for that level 5 on the Lesh to start to get going. I think your worry here on Polaris is that rotation from the Earthshaker. Once Afu sees it's 4 minutes, he will make a move into mid, and with a Puck with a Shaker blocking off the route, it can be hard for Leshrac to survive that one.
In the final lane of Force, bot lane, Afu and Raging Potato against Mavis and Natsumi. This Raging Potato again on a bit of a specialty hero here with this Beastmaster, but it's a pretty annoying lane to have to go against that Medusa Weaver. In fact, hold that thought, because top lane there was a bit of action breaking out As Mavis is going to get caught again. Pylai Dai will move in with the Nightmare. Force is going to try and help and might just be able to, but no. Pylai Dai able to secure first blood as the stand-in of SMG. There was nothing Force could do to really save.
And that's a worrying sign for the side of Polaris, because you've got the Slaughter who should be crushing the AM's lane. You are keeping mid one back from farming, but it's not like he's dying. It's not like he's losing too much space. Thanks to Pylai Dai. Pylai Dai is out of mana though, so he's going to need a top up. He's not going to have much laning presence, but he's got a full courier coming in. He's going to have a lot more to play with once that's up. I think for Force and Xavius, they haven't been able to use that disruption into stun that they really want to. They might find the opportunity soon with Pylai Dai going up though.
Yeah, but can you get the crush off? Well, you definitely can, and now with the blocks, Pylai Dai, he's going to break through the tree line, but it would not work out. They've got plenty of damage this time around, and they will finally get the Bane down. That'll make it a 1-to-1 in this game number 1 between these two. So, I mean, mid 1, considering the lane matchup he's up against, John, he's not doing too bad in terms of CS right now. In terms of pressure, it doesn't really feel like Force has applied that much onto mid 1.
Yeah, it's not quite there. I think you are still pinning down this AM pretty hard. Compare that to Deducer right now. Natsumi's getting a lot more as they find that kill onto Raging Potato. It's just down to how the offlanes are playing out. SMG's offlane is a lot more passive. Beastmaster plus Shakers really don't do much together, and that's one of the things when you do give Afu to Shaker. Your laning phase on the offlane's a lot slower. You just kind of have to accept it. Afu is just going to look to get levels, look to rotate. He's not moving in for a 4-minute ruin, but he tends to move in around 6 minutes if he misses the 4. So we'll see if he'll get that done. It is greedier, and I think Polaris are in a much stronger position to punish that with Redusa in comparison to SMG trying to get something with her AM.
Afu can be chased here by Mavis. Mavis will keep going as he had that swarm on him, but Afu now going to turn back around. Raging Potato getting a fair bit of damage back the way of Mavis, but it's going to be forced back once he does see Natsumi making his way up. And in the end, Afu is forced to back towards the fountain now. So this Earthshaker definitely having a very tough time against that Weaver. And it goes back to the hero lane matchup though. Like, as an Earthshaker, you cannot beat Weaver as a support. Not in the lane.
No, you can't really do much to trade. You have to throw out the Fissure every time. Much more costly mana-wise in comparison to Weaver just shakuching around. And just leaving to passivity. Up top though, they're still applying that pressure onto mid one here.
They don't have the crush, nor did they have the bash to the deeps, and Pylai Dai is going to have the salve up. Of course, if there's one thing we remember very specifically from Pylai Dai, John, is he plays a very hard position 6 support. He does not believe in 5. He goes straight for the 6 button, and you can already see Pylai Dai just having so much regen available for mid 1 when necessary. So chances are he's going to be able to keep mid 1 alive and healthy, though for himself, I can't say the same, as it looks like he is set to die. And he does. Now mid 1 being chased down, but he is by the tier 1 tower, so he is going to remain safe. And the point I was trying to make, John, is mid 1 does now have enough gold to buy the Ring of Health. In fact, I believe his courier is on its way to pick that item up right now.
Kind of died on the way a while ago, sniped out by Mavis, so gonna have to wait a little bit longer to rule that stuff. Down mid though.
Oh, Lelouch gonna drop in bot lane even. In fact, no, where was that? Top lane. Xavius ends up dropping as well. Xavius just going for a deny, but Lelouch actually ends up dying thanks to the rotations of SMG.
Yeah, it's that 6-minute rotation we were looking for. Sure, Afu didn't quite walk his way down there. Did TP in instead. They still managed to make it work, and they secured a power rune here for Moon. So you have a little bit more to play with on your puck. The Dream Coil is on cooldown. Afu is trying to spot out stacks, but not much has been built up. Xavier's been focused on the lane. Not done with the action, though.
Yeah, Afu's in trouble, and so is Pylai Dai as Lelouch. He really wants to go for that chase, but the Nightmare will put an end to all that. Lelouch unable to keep that chase going. So everyone from SMG does get out scot-free. In the meantime, I suppose Polaris are going to be satisfied as long as Natsumi's hitting creeps. We always talk about this with the Medusa. Even if he is being counted out by this anti-mage, it's still a Medusa and it's still going to be a problem. And for now, Natsumi is going to find himself at the top of the net worth board. In fact, he's already 1k ahead in net worth when you compare to the AM.
Yeah, that's already a really great start for Natsumi because he's going to be able to farm even faster. AM's going to have to wait for Battle Fury. It's going to take a little bit longer considering mid 1's lane. He's already been forced into the jungle as well on that AM. So already under a lot of pressure, and Xavius is just not leaving him alone, although he does get reflected back.
That was quick reactions from mid one. See, we'll just jump in right onto Xavius, and Moon's even going to rotate to help out. We'll take the kill for himself. Very quick from mid one, though.
It's still a tough situation to be in the jungle this early on, but if you are protected, it can work. It's just not the quickest. Rotation out from Moon up top. Has the coil, but doesn't have the angle yet to jump onto Force. You are starting to see SMG looking for some plays. You know, they want to apply pressure in the map. They've got to be cautious about leaving mid alone, though. Lelouch is at level 8, has the Edict maxed out. Doesn't take too long to take that tower away here, Mike.
It certainly doesn't. Lelouch, he is hunting for it, but Arfu's going to be around now to take over that mid lane, and we see this a lot from SMG. Like, they really enjoy giving Arfu a lot of space. However, that being said, Lelouch is going to punish him immediately, and in the meantime, top lane, there was a jump in onto Force, but he's going to survive through it. For now, at least, as Pylai is going to go for the chase down, but Xavius is there to try and help out, and it doesn't seem like they've got enough damage with the Bane to take him out. Slardar will be able to get away, and it's a bit of a loss there for the side of SMG.
Not quite finding the trade they'd want, and while they're committing all those resources at the top, the mid is definitely falling. Lelouch does get that done with the Edict. They do eventually find Force top, but I think considering what Polaris gets in exchange, it's a worthwhile trade, and Alfu's not that safe here.
But they've got Lelouch on, that's a big pick off to get. They'll get it. Mavis, he was around to try and help snipe Arfu again, but that did not happen. This time Raging with the Hawk Vision had plenty of information, and he even gets the roar out onto that Weaver with a follow-up stun. It's going to be another kill to go the way of Raging. And suddenly SMG are looking a lot hotter as this game 1 continues.
Finding some ground here. I think the big issue for SMG is that while you are getting some movement across the map, Natsumi is still not being contested at all. In the jungle, farming safely, no Hawks to spot out. There is a ward who was farming under, but they weren't in position to jump in. They've got to make a move on Destusa early on to cut off the farm flow. Although that might not be a long-term concern for SMG, as again, they've got AM. They could just play the opposite way. Secure farm for the AM, wait for the long game, and eventually you do have a favorable core matchup down the line. They are looking to push the bot lane now with that Dominator up. Raging can make short work of the objectives. Polaris does have some time to group back up here if they want to, but looks like they are just going to go for the tier 1 trade up top.
If they are. Meanwhile, the power rune spot, Moon, not going to be able to find one at the top, but he will be able to go and get the invis rune down bot. Bot tier 1 is still being forced in here by Raging and Pylai. Pylai not quite at the level 6 mark yet, though is very close, and now with the Hawk flying out, Mavis is forced to Sakuchi away. With that, they should just slowly be able to take this tier 1 bottom tower. No contest to come from Polaris, but again, they already traded the enemy position 1, rather the enemy tier 1 tower, so no need for them to rotate over. They are still ahead in terms of those objectives. And again, I think they just have plenty of trust that later on, even if Natsumi has been countered, he will just out-farm mid 1. And John, right now, he's almost doubling mid 1's net worth. Like, have they found somebody? Mid 1, been chased down. No purge up yet, but they've got the slow with the lightning storm as mid 1. Still just trying to run, but Force trying to get there with the bash of the deeps, but is unable to reach. Mid 1 is going to be able to walk away, but John, he desperately needs some farm right now.
Yeah, it's a slow process for mid 1. Just in the jungle this early on, you don't clear out the camps that fast. You only really have a blink to help you jump across. But clearing out the creeps themselves, slow process. So you need more time to build up, and that's the greed of SMG as Polaris jump in.
Yeah, I mean, time is not something Polaris needs right now, John, as they are going to rush right into Pylai, and they might even find more. Looking around for Arfu, but unable to find that Earthshaker. Instead, they might be able to catch out Moon, who ran right into Natsumi. So the Stone Gaze is going to be popping. Moon, all he wants to do is just run away. Can he really make it out? The orb is there. The coil to hold him down, but the Mystic Snake's going to follow him all the way down the river. Natsumi, he'll be very happy with that.
That's massive. Killing off the puck, delaying this timing on the Witchblade is going to slow down the impact of Moon when he does jump in. He wants to be able to get some good damage off. Needs that item up ASAP. Almost there. Still not quite. And I think for SMG, again, we talked about the greediness of picking Afu's Shaker. He is still waiting for that blink. He's eating to some farm that you might want to be giving to Raging, you might want to be giving to mid one, but you're forced to give to the Shaker because he needs a blink. And that is kind of throwing their pacing off here for SMG. Polaris understands that. They just keep running in. A bit of mouse issues out for Polaris, Mike. I'm hoping that's like a, the mouse we're using, not actual mice running around. That wouldn't be a good time for Polaris, but it is what it is.
I might have a mouse in the shed, though. A mice. No, it is a mouse in the shed, John. Mouse.
You sure? You sure it's a mouse?
Well, it could be a mouse. If it's not a mouse, John, I'm sure it'll be food for whatever it is. So we'll find out very soon, I'm sure. As apparently they need to change the batteries. I mean, do people really use wireless mouses this often these days? Because I feel like we have this problem often enough. I have never bought a wireless mouse till this day.
Yeah, I'm with you, Mike. Maybe we're just old. Yeah. I like my mice wired up. I don't trust them wireless mice. I don't like using batteries too, because my parents made me grow up thinking batteries were expensive, so I could stop buying toys. So I just feel like they're way too costly to operate. They're probably not. It is what it is. I don't think the latency is too bad. They do get it fixed, and they're gonna start Roshan here, Mike. They've got a Slaughter. They've got a Leshrac. It doesn't take too long to melt Rosh.
Yeah, I remember those times as well, John. I specifically remember not being able to play my Game Boy Color back then, which was very upsetting. Polaris Esports. They were expensive. Onto the Roshan they go. There will be no contest here from SMG. And that's a bit of a concern for SMG, as it certainly felt like they would have had the heroes to contest this, but the problem is they just don't have the items right now to really initiate. So a pretty big loss here for SMG, and for Polaris, it's great news.
Hey, there's a bit of a smoke out from SMG with Raging and Afu. They could maybe look for a snipe. They still don't have that blink on the Shaker. So jumping in, getting the work done is a lot tougher for Afu, but we've seen him do it before without the blink. Still, Polaris are grouping up top, but they don't really have a hold to keep mid one down.
Not yet. You do need that kind of disruption into the stun from Force to really hope to lock the AM down for now. Obviously, even the follow-up of Lelouch would have been appreciated. Still 4k ahead for Polaris. I mean, there's no need to rush them. They still have the Medusa. And he is now really getting close to doubling the net worth of mid one. I realize it's an anti-mage and you're going to be able to catch up anyway. But this Battle Fury timing has proven to be a little bit slower than expected here from mid one. To be fair though, he was against the Slaughter lane. It's not easy. See how fast he can catch up once the Fury's up. But in the meantime, I think you're going to find Natsumi is happy to really start getting involved with his team. There's just no reason not to.
Yeah, just playing that top jungle. They've got complete control here from the side of Polaris, especially as soon as they take this tier 2. Fortify was forced out, but it's a Leshrac. He's just going to have Edict up for the next wave. They're going to be able to melt. SMG are looking to group some heroes up, though. Pylai Die and mid one are in the area, but no follow-up. They need more than just that to fight.
Oh, they've got Moon. Stun is going to land. The chase is on. The Moon is going to try and orb away. They have so much damage. Even with the Urn out, he is slowly ticking away and might not make it. The chase is continuing as Moon is still trying, but they get another Urn charge out, and that's going to be enough. Good game sense there from Mavis, John. Just Sakuchi forward just for that Urn charge, understanding it was going to be more than enough. And SMG, again, just could not help out. In fact, now, maybe they could try to force the fight as Raging is having a look around for Mavis. He has mid one around him right now as they blink in. There's your roar out, Lelouch. He joins in the team fight. So Afu with the Fissure, and now the Mana Void comes out. It's a lot of damage in the Echo Slam. Afu, he gets rid of the first life of Lelouch, but it's going to cost him his own. Still not a bad trade for SMG, as you do at least get the Slaughter. And as long as you get everyone else out, you should be happy. So it looks like mid one is going to be quite safe. And I'd say that is definitely a positive trade there for SMG.
Yeah, they take out Aegis. They manage to get a lot of gold going the way of Afu from those kills. Like, he's only about 200 gold away from Blink. So we're hitting that critical timing now for SMG to actually take much more activity on the map. They've managed to get mid one safely in the jungle while all of that happens. Battle Fury now only 100 gold as well, Mike. So you're going to get the catch up for the AM. It's not quite in the clear. Once you have the Battle Fury, you will still need time to farm. And Polaris understands that. They're just still forcing the issue down mid. They've still got Lesh up. With the Edict, these towers still melt. Natsumi's even there to back them up.
He's going to be able to TP out just in time. But like you mentioned, John, that mid-tier 2 tower, it's just not going to last. Polaris, even with this Deucer draft, they're just so confident to keep moving up that mid lane this early on, 16 minutes in. And they are really putting a clinic on SMG at the moment. Is SMG, all they can do is split push the bot lane and trying to force them back to defend. Polaris though, he's looking to move in onto Natsumi. He does have the Fiend's Grip up, though Natsumi's going to be perfectly fine. And mid one, he blinked in. And he's going to just run his way out. Moon now joining in. They do try to go on to Mavis, but he just time lapses his way back to Natsumi. Still a nice Fisher block now from Arfu. He still doesn't have that blink to initiate, but it won't matter as Natsumi now, he'll pop the Stone Gaze and try to move onto the units of Raging and just clears out the family of Raging Potato. As Mavis is going to try and keep going. Moon though is going to turn right back around now with the Roar and just try to annoy this pesky Weaver and take care of him, but he's fine. They didn't have the detection. They did not have detection for the Weaver, so now Force is going to jump back in. Onto Arfu they go, and with the Shaker, he is not very mobile at the moment, but he is still going to be able to walk away as nobody dies. Just nobody's dead yet. Xavius tries to move in, he's probably going to be gone and does, so Raging. He'll take the first kill of this team fight. In we go though, Force right in onto Pylite Die. Arfu trying to help him out, but not going to make it in time. Is now the Echo. It's only on one target, but they've got Lelouch down. It's a great pick off here for SMG, but can they find more? They will, or not, in the form of Arfu going down, but now Mavis, he drops, but you've lost Raging Potato. Moon and mid one, they are still looking for a way to make this team fight work. But they want to pick off Force here. They don't want to deal with Natsumi. And in the end, they're just going to have to watch both of them back off.
Yeah, a lot of back and forth in that fight. Really good patience out from Afu. His blink just came in. He's looking for the angle. Found maybe not the biggest Echo Slam. Still an important one to get off onto Lelouch. Not enough. 11 to 11. 7k lead still stands for Polaris. As SMG now need to start farming up on mid-win. With the Battle Fury, this is a quick process. But they have to stall for time. Time is the greatest resource SMG is going to be lacking as Polaris is looking to deplete them of time, forcing the issues. They can easily go into high ground if they see the angle, if they take a good team fight. Grosh is still 2 minutes away, so that security for Polaris isn't quite there until we see that timer back up. But they aren't going to be resting around here. They know they're up against an AM, they know there's a timer, and they've got to play quick. And they're just constantly on the aggressive here on Polaris. They're still playing around the triangle, still kind of posturing around here.
Pylite Die. I'm here there on Force. He's still looking around for this Bane. Does have the blink up now, but doesn't really want to initiate quite yet as Arfu's going to jump in. And now with the Fiend's Grip, they've held down the Slardar. So mid one, he can move in. Dodging out the stun as well very nicely. They've got 2 down so far in the Mana Void. It does come out by Lelouch. He was perfectly fine throughout all this as they keep going onto the Leshrac. They've got a lot of damage. Lelouch needs to back off. The Orb to follow the Moon. He wants the kill, but Lelouch, he is hasted up and should be just fine. Or maybe not because Moon's not done yet. He's still looking around, but Lelouch is still alive as now Moon could be in danger. Not quite yet. Moon continues juking. Natsumi on the chase, but will eventually give up. But Lelouch, he does survive through all of this.
Yeah, he lives through. They do get a good set of kills from SMG though. They managed to kill off the Slaughter, they managed to kill off the Weaver and the Shadow Demon. Not really dropping too much in exchange as they are starting to plump up bot. Natsumi does have Butterfly. Even if your AM's on top, that evasion's going to be cutting through the damage of the AM right now. And that's going to cause some issues in instantly bursting down that Deuce at the side of Polaris again. Still on defensive, but SMG smoking out of there. Don't want any single thing of that. So they're going to be able to keep stalling out. It's all about mid one. It's all about getting the AM up and running, and considering everyone else on SMG is actually pretty equally farmed with each other, and the next highest net worth core on Lelouch, you're in a pretty decent spot for SMG. You only have to worry about Deuce, and who knows how long Natsumi has left as number 1 in net worth here.
Bot lane, they're going to start to push here, Polaris.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
T1 bot tower not going to last very long. SMG not quite in position to try and defend, but instead they have moved into that mid-tier 1 tower, and of course that's going to be much more valuable here for SMG. The thing is, Polaris aren't done yet. They'll keep moving into the tier 2 tower now. The final outer tower for SMG about to drop. Some decent timing here for Polaris Esports to just keep this up. Thing is, I think they are going to want the Ags up on Natsumi and maybe the Aegis if they really want to try and force high ground seriously. But they will at least go to force the rotations back to the base here from SMG. Natsumi, though, I highly doubt continues this push. So he is going to continue for now. I suppose he hasn't really forced everyone to rotate quite yet. Yeah, they will back off in the end.
Got to play it safe. You have to respect the high ground hold of SMG. They've got pretty good AoE. Dream Coil out onto one.
Yeah, they do at least punish one. Not a bad pick off there for Moon, and it does go back to that Raging Potato Hawk giving all the vision. Nice little pick up for Moon. That'll pretty much be it though. I mean, it's still a kill here for SMG, but they have been forced to rotate in a position they don't really want to be in. I mean, to be fair to them though, mid one he never TP'd back, so I guess he's been farming this whole time, which is all they really care about.
Yeah, again, it's all about the AM at this point. You're slowly clawing your way back to close that net worth gap between the Deuce and AM, but there's an opportunity here for Polaris. They see the Roshan. Well, they haven't checked SMG or where Roshan is up. They could actually force the fight around that area, but Polaris has access to the Rosh. And if they do manage to get that Aegis somehow in a team fight, if they do manage to get that shards on the second Rosh now, you're going to have some issues dealing with that Deuce. 2 lives is a lot to rip through. You're going to have to be on point with your Mana Void here from mid one. You have to be on point with your control. And Polaris are going in. They don't have the Sentry to spawn out the Hawk, though. The SMG has a lot of angles they can take to force this one out if they want to.
Roshan's going to fall real quick, however. When that corrosive haze up, it is not going to take a very long time, and there it's gone. Natsumi, shards and Aegis now available on that Medusa, and things become infinitely harder for SMG. As at this point, you definitely want to try and force that high ground now. Although even find the overwhelm creep there from Raging, but he does go ahead and take another one just before it does go down. It's the Ancient Black Dragon now. Polaris, though, bring force back to Moon. They catch him. Stun will be there. Xavier's going to try and follow up with the Purge out. Moon, he'll pop the Dream Coil, but with the Purge, and even the neutrals are trying to attack him. Poor old Moon. He will still be able to get away, at least for now, but Lelouch was trying to cut him off. And in the meantime, Pylai die. He will go down to Natsumi on that Medusa.
Not the biggest kill in the world. You are still playing tag here on the side of SMG. Force now scouting around with a smoke, and we see mid one.
Oh, that's some great blink timing there for mid one. I don't think that was quite on purpose, but it was great timing, that's for sure. So I suppose at least they can go after that dominated creep. See if they can get it this time, and that they will. It's something.
Yeah, not the biggest thing, but they are slowing down that split push from Raging. Double damage is found, though. Leech will take it for himself. Can't really wait for Natsumi to come up. And I think SMG are doing a great job of stalling. Like, the gap closing in net worth isn't as fast as you'd want from BM. You still have the 7k lead on your Dusa, but you are getting some build-up. BKB eventually going to come out from mid one, cutting off the annoyance of that Mystic Snake. Moon?
More towards the south. They can still get vision with that poison. Moon in big trouble now. Xavier's going to be able to get the banish off. Mavis trying to get those bugs on, but he does juke those out. Orb towards the north now, but Force is still having a look around as Moon. He's gone south now. He's just really juking out the side of Polaris, and he's actually bought quite a bit of space and time. I like that from Moon, because this is buying more time now for mid one, who is going to just naturally split push another lane and force Polaris to react to that, which he has. Upper top lane, where Lelouch is now forced to rotate and address the creep wave.
Yeah, it's just so much space, and that's what you want to see from the puck. Mid one getting some good damage off in that top lane, getting good shove in. Natsumi does actually cut the creep wave on bot, so not much progress can be made by the puck as well. And they're still playing tag. He's just not done yet.
This time they've got him, surely. They'll land the stun there from Force. And immediately they TP back into the mid lane, where it does seem like the line has been drawn out. They want to force the buyback out of Moon. I can't quite blame them.
It's going to be hard for them to hold on to creep wave, though, as mid one with the Battle Fury can just jump across and cut them off. They only have the siege creep. They've got to protect it well for this high ground siege. As SMG's done a good job of keeping the lanes in their favor. Look at top, it's just shoved in. Bot's going to be meeting up at the midway point as well. So you don't have much of leeway here for Polaris to make a mistake. Look at Mavis just blocking the siege creep away. Make sure it's staying out of range as much as possible, but the Fortify will take care of it.
That tier 3 tower not going to last very long at all. The SMG, they have waited out the respawn of Moon, but see what they can get done with that. Moon will move in. Bit of chip damage onto Natsumi, but nothing to write home about. Natsumi's still very healthy. Full mana on that Dusa, and I don't know if they want to keep going, but they certainly feel like they could. Mid one is not in the base once again. He is still just split pushing lanes. Problem is, they don't really have a creep wave while mid one's doing this, so they can't really keep going.
I mean, he's done a great job of, again, keeping the lanes in SMG's favor, keeping top shoved in, keeping bot shoved in. They only had that one siege creep for the high ground fight. And once that's gone, backdoor kicks in after a while. They can't go for the big racks. Polaris are still looking to be aggressive. They protect this bot creep wave. They've got to keep a hero nearby as SMG are going for a smoke play here.
But they are. Ancient Thunderhide creep here from Raging Potatoes. We'll see what he can get done with that. Highlight die. He's around and he'll just delay things with the Nightmare. Natsumi's going to move in. The mid-racks they go. SMG still not really prepared to defend this, but again, I think mid one has already kind of dealt with the creep wave in that mid lane anyway. Without the creep wave, eventually that backdoor is going to kick in and stop this. In the meantime, in the backside, Raw is committed onto Xavius, and they've got him down, but Raging, he's going to go down to boot. Not a great trade for SMG. And Polaris, they haven't left the mid lane yet. They will keep going. Even getting the buyback out from the Shadow Demon, but the jump is in. Arfu, the Fiend Trip from Pylai die. Where's the help? What? Nobody reacts. Natsumi goes down for free. Force, he's going to BKB up. They've got to run. Polaris Esports, not in a great position at the moment as they will also lose Mavis. A very awkward scenario though, as they just left Natsumi behind.
I think they thought they might have had more time in the Aegis. They didn't. It expired right as Natsumi dies, so didn't quite get the timings right. Maybe some miscoms as well with Natsumi wanting to stay on the high ground, and now SMG still on the chase.
Moon, Lelouch. Oh, he's already lost so much mana from mid one, but he doesn't have the mana void up. So now SMG, suddenly they can start moving into that mid tier 2 tower themselves. There's not really much in the way of slowing them down at the moment either, but never mind. They're not going to bother. It's mid one just very focused on farming to get that Eye of Skadi up. This stage though for mid one, it does feel like he's going to need something like an MKB to get through that damn butterfly of the Dusa. Hell, even with the plus 15% evasion talent at level 10, it's quite annoying for mid one to try and deal with this Medusa.
There's just too much durability out of Natsumi. We do see what happens when he is left alone to all the magic damage. Although, Lelouch...
That's a nice pickup. I mean, that's someone who doesn't evade hits very easily from the anti-mage, and someone that mid one can certainly take care of. Big pick off there for SMG. Can they find a bit more though? Moon, having a look around for a straggler. Polaris still looking like they might want to try and force a fight, because they do have the buyback available on Lelouch.
Radiant's bottom tower has fallen.
They still seem just a little bit hesitant to move onto that high ground of that jungle, so they'll leave it at that. No need to rush in. I mean, you are still against the Beastmaster, so you got to keep an eye out on those Hawks. SMG will probably have the vision advantage every single time. And Dreamcore has been committed. Xavius, he gets caught out there by Moon. And an easy pick off for the puck. And I believe that was actually a dieback on Xavius, as he will just back off again. SMG, able to find a way to really go into that mid-tier 2 now.
Again, we're hitting that spike now for our AM one. Skadi up, net worth lead of Natsumi is at 4k, but SMG's net worth lead is at 3k, so Natsumi is farmed at the cost of Lelouch and Force kind of taking a backseat, and you kind of need more farm, especially on that Slardar, it feels like. You kind of want the Ags up, you want maybe your own Heaven's Halberd up to deal with the AM, not quite there. and side of SMG have made big strides in getting control back on the map. They've got control over Roche. It is 1:40 away, so some time off. But it does feel like Polaris maybe just misplayed their hand. They overextend with the Aegis, they got punished, and it's been on the back foot since. They need to play as a team together. They need to protect Natsumi. They need to make sure Lelouch just doesn't get blown up solo. And they can't afford to give any of those openings out to SMG, because once you split up, with the mobility you have on that puck, on the AM, it's very easy to kill someone.
Of course, he's in mid one. He got caught out, and with the stone gaze, he's going to be petrified. He can't get out of there. Oh, that's a great start here for Polaris now as they try to move in onto Raging Potato. He has been corrosive hazed up, so they've got plenty of vision. But he is a very, very quick Beastmaster at the moment. As the chase does continue, they'll land the stun there from Force, and that should be Raging gone. Both heroes down without buyback. In fact, there's more action to come as Moon is just trying to run away from Natsumi. But the banish is going to be there, so the orb away is not going to work out for Moon. All he can do is phase shift right now, but it's not looking great for him, as eventually he will go down. Though Moon does have buyback gold available. But I think for Polaris, they go straight through the mid lane right now.
They're going to be running their way up. Only 2 heroes to defend, no buyback on 2 of them as well. But there's a lot of leeway here for Polaris to get that objective down. You might want to try to gun for the Megas. I don't think they have enough time for tier 4s to be taken out, and they are pinging the bot tower. As mid-range rack should just fall, and yeah, they're going to focus on taking more, get the super creeps going. They've got the illusion spam coming out there with Xavius, so it should be an easy job to get done. Mind you, we're only 10 seconds away from Beastmaster back up. Does have a roar. AM 16 seconds. They're not going to be able to get the full megas, but another lane of super creeps can keep things at bay, and the Fortify is going to stall out a bit too. So SMG has a lot of openings here, if you consider all the stalls.
Of course. Nice blink in. Highlight die, did have the Ghost Scepter, but it doesn't last too long, so he will drop to Natsumi. No buyback available to him, still mid one, gonna jump in on Medusa, but the save is there, and now the Roar is out. Echo Slam committed on Fu, trying to hold down the Medusa, but he's fine to get the Stone Gaze off, and now mid one, he's been stunned up again. Natsumi just cleans them up. The tips are out for mid one and Natsumi, as they will try to chase down Moon, and they've got him. Moon, he's still trying to run. He might make the blink out. He does, just barely, but now Raging. He's in trouble. In fact, Moon does go down to Natsumi in the end. And that's GG, SMG. They do not feel confident to try and force this game to keep going. And that'll be game 1 to go the way of Polaris Esports.
Yeah, Polaris played really well. They come out with a really strong draft. They give Lelouch his signature Leshrac that he plays a ton of. We saw a little bit of that in the regional finals as well when he was standing in.
Yeah.
This time around, it was enough to get going. Like, the mid lane matchup for Lelouch was pretty manageable up against Moon. I think the one issue for SMG was that mid one had such a tough lane matchup. Like, they last pick AM, immediate last pick Slardar from Polaris to counteract. And mid one just never managed to get that running start. Like, sure, he hit Battle Fury. That was way too late. At the end of it, even with the Battle Fury up, he was still about 5k behind Natsumi. And yeah, you were finding kills in the Lelouch. Yeah, you were taking care of Force, but you had no answer for the Dusa when the backup was there. And in the end, that AM counterpick just didn't pay off, Mike.
It's interesting as well, right? Because these Medusas, with that level 10 talent, that 15% evasion, it's really damn strong. Like, you saw it last series round against the Ursa as well, and it just, the amount of hits you miss, it's really annoying to deal with for any kind of melee core. And hell, once you have the butterfly up, it just feels impossible to deal with. Still, we are going to head off to a short break. Of course, that is game 1 of the best of 2 series. Polaris Esports and SMG will be back for game number 2 in approximately 10 minutes. So we'll head to a short break, and we'll be back with game number 2.